There's this whole, I talked with somebody once who said, if you just look at where the stars are in the sky, don't look at them as just random things. If you just look at them as points, look at the constellation, what does it show you? So you just outlined it, Roland. What does it show you?
You guys watched the debate. Right. He has, quote, concepts of a plan. Concepts.
Welcome back to War Room. I am Monica Crowley, in today for Stephen K. Bannon, our dear friend and political prisoner who, 2 weeks from today, will be released from federal custody. And I know we all can't wait. It's an honor and a joy to sit in his chair and be with you as always. So thank you so much for being here. Also, please don't forget about my podcast, the Monica Crowley Podcast, available on Rumble and also Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. I just had President Trump on a couple of weeks ago, and last week I had Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance for a phenomenal conversation. So please check out the show there. And on the socials, on Instagram, I'm at Monica Crowley _ and Twitter and True Social, I'm at Monica Crowley. All right, we've got a big hour lined up. We're going to talk to Adam Coleman. We're going to talk to Joel Gilbert about Kamala and the black vote. But I want to kick off this hour by talking about the two cuts that we put up there. And I tweeted one last night where she's talking about concepts and she's at some sort of rally acting like a complete maniac. And, if the stakes weren't so high and this weren't so serious, we'd all have a good laugh about this, about her behavior. But you have to understand, she is the sitting vice president of the United States. She is the presidential nominee of the Democrat Party. And she is out there acting like a complete lunatic. Guys, this is really serious. And I wish I didn't have to say this, but you come to War Room for the truth. You come for accurate, honest analysis. And I'm going to give it to you here. I'm a woman. I've been a woman my entire life. And I'm looking at Kamala Harris and I'm seeing hysteria. Now, I know you're not supposed to say that because it goes back to the Victorian era of women and hysteria and fainting and the vapors and all of that. But I am telling you right now, something is not right with this woman. There have been rumors and allegations, and I have no idea if they're true, that there's some sort of substance abuse issue with her. I have no idea. But what I see when she's out there is I see a woman perhaps having a nervous breakdown. And I'm not joking about that. I mean, nervous breakdowns, mental illness, all of these issues are very serious. And there are so many Americans who are suffering with these kinds of issues. And we pray for them and hope for them every single day. But that doesn't mean somebody suffering from something like this should be president of the United States. So while we all roll these clips and point and laugh and stare and roll our eyes and go, oh, my God, there's something much more serious with this woman going on. I'm not a medical doctor. I do have a PhD, but it's in foreign affairs, not medicine. So I can't sit here and diagnose her. But I can tell you what my gut is telling me. My gut is telling me that she seems to be in the throes of some sort of nervous breakdown, some sort of psychotic break, guys. And again, maybe I'm wildly wrong. Maybe she's just nervous. But if that's the case, then that's also disqualifying to the highest office in the land. You cannot have somebody who is such a nervous wreck in front of the cameras being president of the United States. So whether it's just being nervous or whether there's something more serious going on here, some sort of breakdown, she cannot be president of the United States. It is the most grueling, taxing, serious job in the world. And you cannot have somebody who is like a bowl full of nervous jelly every time she is being interviewed. You cannot have that sitting in the Oval Office. It's bad enough that she's the number 2 right now. That is bad enough that she's sitting there as the vice president of the United States. We all know why she was chosen. She was chosen by Joe Biden because she ticked off the DEI checklist. She was a woman of color. She had been a sitting senator. She had some law enforcement background there, right, with being a DA, being an attorney general in the state of California. So he thought, okay, she checks the good boxes. That's number one. Number two, she's my insurance policy because she's a dingbat. Okay, she is a communist, but she's a communist dingbat. So Joe Biden said there's no way that they're going to remove me because if they do, they get her. Well, they made that choice back in late July after that debacle of a debate when he went up against President Trump. And President Trump was so dominant, he just wiped the floor with him. And Joe Biden had a breakdown on stage on live television in front of the whole country and the world. And that's when the powers that be, and we're going to get to them here in a second, that's when they decided to pull the plug on Biden and replace him. And Biden did something very smart, not to be underestimated. He might be senile, but he's not to be underestimated. Immediately, he turned around and endorsed Kamala Harris. Who is getting the last laugh here? Joe Biden. Joe Biden is going to have the most epic "I told you so" in the history of the world when Kamala Harris loses. He's going to go to all of them and say, "I told you so. Told you." But he chose her because he wanted to stick it to them, and he still wants to stick it to them. There's all this reporting now out, guys, showing that the Biden camp, which is essentially the White House, Obama's on the side, we're going to talk about him, and the Kamala camp, they are at constant war. There's the shade war. There's actual, Posobiec was reporting that there's actual physical altercations going on. So the strife is real between them. And Joe Biden's kicking back. He's not on the campaign trail. Dr. Jill's not on the campaign trail. Have you noticed? Very interesting. Now, you know who is on the campaign trail, and this has been absolutely delicious to watch, guys. You know it is bad for Kamala Harris when they're trying to pull out the big guns to make the case for her. They have wheeled out Barack Obama and they have wheeled out Bill Clinton. Bubba is back on the scene to try to campaign for Kamala Harris. She cannot do this herself, and the sitting president, her boss, will not do it for obvious reasons. So they are wheeling out the Democrat former presidents to try to help her. Notice on the flip side that President Trump is doing this all by himself. President Trump has no former Republican presidents out there campaigning for him. Where's George W. Bush? Out there cheering on Donald Trump. He is nowhere. Why? Because President Bush is probably going to vote for Kamala Harris. Let's be real, right? The Bush dynasty ended by President Trump. The Clinton dynasty ended by President Trump, and soon the Obama dynasty is going to be ended by President Trump. So all of these people are clearly on the other side. President Trump is out there on the campaign trail. He's a machine. He's constantly going multiple rallies, multiple interviews per day, and he's doing it by himself. Yes, he's got JD. Yes, he's got the War Room Posse. Yes, he's got surrogates like Governor Kristi Noem and Lee Zeldin, and I'm out there headlining different events in the swing states as well. He's got surrogates that are out there making the case, but ultimately it's all about him, and he doesn't need any Republican big guns like Obama and Clinton trying to make the case for him. He's doing this all by himself in the face of lawfare, in the face of the corrupt imperial media, in the face of assassination attempts. Guys, the man is Superman. He is truly Superman. Let's get back to the former Democrat president, shall we? This has been so yummy to watch these two who were political magicians their entire political careers. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, political magic whenever they were around, right? What we are witnessing is the falls from grace of both men who are wandering around cluelessly trying to make the case for Kamala. They have both lost their touch. It's incredible to see because these guys were on, the pinnacle of politics, dazzling, right? Not for you and me, but they were dazzling for most Americans when they were on the scene. And now they're out there. They have completely lost their touch. Barack Obama is out there insulting black voters, particularly black male voters. And we're going to talk about this with Adam Coleman, who's written a great book and a phenomenal op-ed for the New York Post about this. Insulting black men, saying, why are you going over there, looking at Donald Trump and voting for him? You need to be voting for Kamala. What are you, a bunch of sexists? Do you not want a woman president? No, we're ready for a woman president, but it has to be the right woman, and it can't be an absolute communist imbecile. So, yeah, we're ready for a woman, but we're not stupid. We don't want this communist dingbat as president of the United States. And black men see it. Polling now, 20-30% of black men going to vote for Donald Trump. If that holds, this race is over. But Obama's out there talking about the brothers and saying, you got to wake up. You know, what are you thinking? Are you a bunch of sexists? Call me crazy, but if you want to appeal to a voting bloc, you do not insult them. You flatter them, you compliment them, you try to educate them, and you try to inspire them to bring them along. But Barack Obama's out there looking rough, looking weary, and he's trying to convince black voters to come back over to Kamala by insulting them. And then, of course, there's Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, he's in his late 70s, and he's also looking rough, but he's not senile, unlike our current president. He's not senile. And what is Bill Clinton out there doing? Bill Clinton out there yesterday in Georgia on the campaign trail was talking about how Laken Riley, that beautiful young nursing student in Georgia who was killed by a criminal illegal alien, would still be alive today if Kamala Harris had done proper vetting. Just let that sit with you for a minute. Bill Clinton is late 70s, but again, he's not demented. He knows exactly what he is doing and what he is saying. He is throwing Kamala Harris under the bus. And my theory is, you know, the idea of Kamala Harris, that she would be the first woman president, makes Hillary Clinton want to hit the Chardonnay hard. And so Bill Clinton is out there doing her dirty work, throwing Kamala under the bus. Happy wife, happy life. Am I right? That's what I think is going on with the Clinton household. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Kamala Harris campaign pulls back on both of these men and doesn't send them out there because they both have different agendas. Obama clearly wants term 4.0. This is currently 3.0. He wants to make sure he gets that, but he's making mistakes. Bill Clinton is trying to salvage his own marriage, so he's out there making mistakes. But again, we have to keep our eyes on the prize here. President Trump doing it by himself. No let up. Offense, 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 as Steve always says, right? Pedal to the metal. Get out there, volunteer your time, your resources, and or your expertise. ProtectTheVote.com to be a poll watcher or observer. TrumpForce47.com if you want to knock doors or do phone banking. Get out there, educate and inspire people about President Trump and the stakes of this campaign. 20 days left, guys. We have no more time to waste. Kamala is in total meltdown, so much so that she's going on Fox News with Bret Baier tomorrow. I expect a tough but fair interview from him, so we shall see what she delivers. But if I am right that she's in a rolling state of some sort of breakdown, this is not going to be a pretty picture over the next couple of days to the election.